You were taught that revenge means striking back. But the Stoic lessons show the opposite. Silence is strength. Epictetus taught that mastering yourself is the true victory. The common mistake is believing silence equals weakness. What if discipline, daily Stoic principles, and timeless wisdom are the way you truly rise above toxic people? Today, you'll see why silent revenge is the strike that defeats chaos. The truth is hard to accept. The moment you strike back in anger, you have already lost. Revenge, in the ordinary sense, promises satisfaction, but it rarely delivers. When you shout at an insult, defend yourself against every accusation, or try to prove your worth to someone who has betrayed you, what you are really proving is that they still have power over you. They have pulled you into their game, and your reaction confirms it. This is why so many people feel empty after revenge. It satisfies the impulse, but deepens the dependence. The paradox is that the more you fight to show you are strong, the more you reveal the weakness they expected. If you look closely at your own life, you will recognize this pattern. Think of the last time someone insulted you. Did you feel the urge to defend yourself, to explain, to strike back? Most of us do. But ask yourself honestly, did that reaction restore your dignity, or did it simply keep you locked in the cycle of someone else's chaos? When a narcissist, a manipulative colleague, or a toxic partner provokes you, it isn't because they want the truth. It's because they want control. They feed on your reactions the way a fire feeds on oxygen. The more you give them, the stronger they become. Now imagine the opposite response. Instead of shouting, you remain silent. Instead of arguing, you look at them calmly, as if you are studying a passing storm. That silence does not mean surrender. It means refusal. You deny them the very fuel they depend on. They expect chaos, but you give them composure. And suddenly, their game collapses. Marcus Aurelius captured this with clarity. The best revenge is not to be like your enemy. He understood that the highest form of revenge is not retaliation, but transformation. Becoming so disciplined, so untouchable, that their attempts to harm you only reveal their own emptiness. This is where Stoicism speaks directly to your pain. You may have been betrayed, lied to, or treated as if your sensitivity is a weakness. You may have carried the weight of injustice, asking yourself why toxic people seem to win while you struggle. But here's the truth. They only win when you keep playing. They depend on your anger, your explanations, your endless need to be understood. The moment you stop feeding them, the moment you walk away in silence, is the moment you take back control. And that silence is louder than any argument you could ever make. If you find value here, subscribe. It's a small click for you, but it helps us share more timeless Stoic wisdom and how it transforms revenge into strength with the world. So let me ask you, which do you think is harder? A, staying silent when insulted, or B, controlling your emotions after betrayal? Your answer matters because whichever choice feels harder is exactly where your growth begins. Stoicism does not promise easy answers. It demands discipline. And discipline is the one thing toxic people cannot defeat. Most people will continue believing that revenge means striking back, proving themselves, or exposing the other person. But that is where they misunderstand. Stoic revenge is not about destroying someone else. It is about mastering yourself so deeply that they can no longer touch you. And yet, there's a principle Marcus Aurelius lived by. that shows why silence can defeat even the most toxic enemies. That is where we turn next. The truth most people cannot bear to face is that retaliation is rarely strength. It is surrender in disguise. The louder you shout, the harder you fight back, the more you expose that someone else has seized your emotions. Anger feels like a weapon, but in reality, it is a leash, pulling you wherever the other person wants you to go. The paradox is clear. The more you demand to prove that you are in control, the more you reveal that you are not. Think about the common mistakes people make after being insulted or betrayed. Some explode, throwing words like daggers, only to regret them later. Others brood, replaying the moment in their mind, plotting elaborate payback. Still others cannot stop explaining themselves, believing that if they just find the right words, the other person will understand. But each of these reactions gives away power. You are no longer choosing your response. You are reacting to their script. That is how toxic people win. They don't need to strike hard if they can make you strike yourself. The Stoic answer is silence, and silence is not passivity. Silence is discipline. Silence is strategy. When you refuse to argue, when you stop feeding the conflict, you starve it at the root. Epictetus warned, "Any person capable of angering you becomes your master." The point is not that you should never feel anger, but that you must never let anger dictate your action. Silence ensures you remain the master of your own voice, your own mind, your own timing. Imagine a colleague spreading rumors in your workplace. The normal response is to fight back loudly, to expose them. But that noise entangles you in the same chaos they thrive on. Instead, picture the Stoic path. You say little, continue your work with excellence, and allow results to speak. The colleague seeks reaction, but finds none. Their accusations echo unanswered, and over time, the silence unmasks their motives more clearly than any defense could. That is Stoic revenge, not an outburst, but an exposure of their emptiness. Or think of a relationship where a narcissistic partner tries to provoke you with false accusations. You've changed. You don't care. Before, you might rush to defend yourself, pleading to be understood. Now, you respond with calm silence. You do not explain, because you recognize the words are not about truth, but about control. In that moment, silence becomes your armor. Your refusal to engage reveals the manipulation for what it is. Silence does not mean weakness. It means you have measured the situation and found it unworthy of your voice. It is the declaration that your peace is more valuable than their chaos. To stay quiet is to assert that you will not be baited into a battle that destroys you more than it hurts them. Most people misunderstand this because they confuse noise with power. But the Stoic knows that silence, chosen deliberately, is power distilled to its purest form. If you know someone who needs this message, share this video with them. You might help them see how Stoicism turns revenge into lasting strength. And as you reflect on this, consider what comes next. The practice of silence is only the beginning. Stoic discipline goes further, teaching that revenge reaches its sharpest edge, not in words withheld, but in the lines you refuse to let others cross. Boundaries, calmly enforced, reveal why silence alone is not enough, and why the greatest victories are built on justice as much as restraint. The paradox most people never question is that the harder you try to punish someone, the more you remain tied to them. Retaliation may feel like strength, but in truth, it keeps you orbiting around your enemy. Anger chains you to the very person you want to escape. In contrast, restraint, calmly saying no, refusing to give access, withdrawing from the cycle, sets you free. This is the revenge few understand, because it does not look like vengeance at all. It looks like self-respect. Think of how often people confuse revenge with retaliation. You may have believed that shouting back at an insult, exposing someone's betrayal, or humiliating a toxic person would finally bring peace. Yet every time you do, you keep them at the center of your thoughts. Even in victory, they dominate your inner world. The illusion is powerful. Anger feels like strength, but it is really dependence. The Stoic answer is different. Seneca observed that he who does not prevent a crime when he can, encourages it. Applied here, tolerating abuse in the name of kindness is not virtue. It is complicity. Boundaries, not retaliation, are the way of justice. When you set boundaries, you declare that your life is not open for exploitation. This may mean ending a conversation when accusations turn manipulative. It may mean refusing to justify yourself when someone twists guilt to control you. It may mean limiting your time with a family member whose presence always drains your energy. Each of these actions is not loud, not dramatic, but decisive. Boundaries are revenge without spectacle. They quietly strip the other person of the unlimited access they once assumed they had. What makes boundaries so hard is the fear of being misunderstood. You worry they will call you selfish, cold, or heartless. And indeed, they will. But here's the truth. Those who benefited from your lack of boundaries will always resent your self-respect. Their judgment is not proof that you are wrong. It is proof that you are no longer available for their use. In this sense, restraint is not weakness, but sovereignty. By choosing distance, you are choosing freedom. By saying no, you are saying yes to your own dignity. Revenge framed through Stoicism is not about hurting the other. It is about ending your role in their game. When you stop showing up to absorb their chaos, you cut off the very supply they depend on. They may escalate, they may plead, they may accuse, but none of it matters once you realize that their words only have weight if you allow them to. Boundaries return the balance of power to where it always should have been, within your control. If this lesson resonates with you, like this video and subscribe for more Stoic lessons on how silence and self-discipline can defeat toxic people. As you consider this, reflect on what comes next. Boundaries protect you from chaos, but true mastery goes further. The Stoics taught that even in the midst of attacks, you can turn provocation into practice. Every insult, every betrayal, every attempt to manipulate becomes an opportunity to strengthen the one thing your enemy cannot reach, your inner fortress of composure. The paradox you must face is this. The longer you wait for the perfect moment to respond, the more power you give away. Many people believe that timing their revenge will make it sharper, but delay usually becomes hesitation, and hesitation becomes control handed directly to your enemy. Every moment you hold back, not from discipline, but from fear or confusion, the toxic person grows stronger. Think about how often you replay someone's insult in your mind, imagining the cutting reply you should have given. Hours pass, sometimes days, and still you are debating with a shadow that is not even present. You think you are preparing, but in truth, you are still enslaved to the moment that has already ended. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." The Stoic lesson is clear. Your strength is measured not in what you will say tomorrow, but in how you govern yourself today. When you fail to practice indifference in the moment, you open the door to manipulation. A toxic partner accuses you of being selfish. You hesitate, and instead of observing, you begin defending. That single lapse draws you back into the cycle of chaos. A narcissistic colleague undermines you in front of others. Instead of holding composure, you wait for a better time to respond. But the delay leaves you wounded, rehearsing what you should have said. In both cases, procrastination is not patience. It is surrender disguised as strategy. Indifference does not mean pretending not to care. It means seeing the attack for what it is, an attempt to draw you into a game and refusing to play. The true discipline lies in responding with composure now, not later. You do not need the perfect phrase or clever timing. You need only to master your reaction. Seneca observed that the greatest freedom is to be free from the rule of passion. That freedom exists only in the present moment, never in the delay. This is where revenge through Stoicism becomes practical. When insulted, you choose silence immediately, not after hours of brooding. When provoked, you withdraw your attention now, not after one more explanation. When you feel anger rising, you discipline it before it spills out, not after damage has been done. Each decision, made in the moment, denies the toxic person their victory. They feed on your hesitation. Your composure starves them instantly. And here lies the warning. If you keep delaying, toxic people won't just test your limits, they will control your life. Every small concession, every postponed boundary, every unspoken refusal strengthens their grip. The longer you wait, the harder it becomes to reclaim what you surrendered in silence that came too late. The path of indifference is not about coldness. It is about immediacy. Revenge, in the Stoic sense, is won by mastering your emotions before the other person even knows they've struck. That mastery is built in each present choice, not in imagined victories tomorrow. What comes next reveals why the strongest revenge is not only about silence or boundaries, but about preparation. The Stoics believed that the true battle is decided long before the conflict begins. When you cultivate discipline so deeply that no insult or betrayal can shake you. The final truth you must face is this: real revenge is not about humiliating others. It is not about proving them wrong in front of everyone, nor is it about crafting the perfect reply to silence them. The highest form of Stoic revenge is proving to yourself that no one can control your mind or dictate your actions. This is where the entire journey of silence, boundaries, and indifference converges, at the point of self-mastery. Think about the everyday situations where your discipline is tested. A stranger insults you online, and your first instinct is to fire back. A toxic colleague undermines you in a meeting, and you want to argue immediately. A manipulative partner tries to pull you back into chaos with guilt or anger, and every part of you wants to explain. In each moment, you face a choice: react on impulse or master yourself. The first option hands power to them. The second takes it back. Self-mastery is the silent refusal to be dragged into their arena. Epictetus once reminded his students, "No man is free who is not master of himself." This is not a beautiful slogan, but a principle for life. You cannot stop others from insulting, betraying, or attempting to manipulate you. But you can decide whether their words invade your mind. You can choose not to let their chaos disturb your peace. Self-mastery means drawing a clear line between what belongs to you, your reason, your choices, your dignity, and what belongs to them, their noise, their deceit, their emptiness. Self-mastery also redefines victory. Success is no longer about winning an argument or exposing someone. Success is when you remain unshaken. You know you have won when provocation no longer stirs your emotions, when subtle attacks pass through you without leaving a mark. This is not avoidance or weakness. It is strength in its highest form, strength that completely removes their influence over you. They may act as they wish, but you hold the power not to react. They may try to provoke, but you hold the power not to be moved. In that moment, the balance of power shifts, and it belongs to you. In real life, this principle shines most clearly in ordinary situations. Imagine walking away from an insult without saying a word, not because you are powerless, but because you choose to stay focused on your own path. Picture choosing dignity over retaliation after a betrayal, knowing their actions reveal them, not you. Or think of the freedom in breaking free from familiar cycles of manipulation, realizing that their need for control no longer touches you. These are not acts of avoidance. They are demonstrations of inner authority. The cost of neglecting self-mastery is obvious. Without it, every insult haunts you, every betrayal defines you, and every toxic person finds a lever to control you. With it, you become untouchable. You no longer need revenge in the traditional sense, because your composure itself is the highest revenge. When you prove you cannot be broken, you render your enemy powerless. So in just one sentence, share the Stoic habit that helps you rise above toxic people. The heart of this message is simple yet difficult to accept. Revenge, in the Stoic sense, is never about striking back. It is not about clever words, humiliation, or retaliation. True revenge is the discipline of mastering yourself so that toxic people, narcissists, or manipulators lose their grip on your mind. When they cannot reach your inner fortress, they lose all power. The profound lesson here is that every insult, every betrayal, and every attempt at control is also an opportunity to practice self-mastery. Stoicism teaches that silence can be stronger than anger, that refusing attention is more powerful than arguments, and that dignity in the face of provocation is the ultimate form of resistance. You apply this by pausing before you react, by choosing to withdraw your attention when someone feeds on chaos, and by valuing peace over conflict. Each time you stay silent when insulted, each time you decline to fuel a narcissist's drama, you are practicing silent revenge. These choices may look small, but together they protect your mind, preserve your energy, and sharpen your strength. The paradox of Stoic revenge is that the less you fight to prove yourself, the stronger you become. In refusing to engage, you expose the emptiness of the other person and reveal the fullness of your own discipline. Strength is not measured in the noise you make, but in the control you keep. This is the victory no one can take from you. What does victory mean to you? Silence or retaliation? Subscribe to discover timeless Stoic principles each week and learn how to apply them in real life.